So, let's dive into the history and popularity of moon shoes in the 1990s. These mini trampolines for your feet were all the rage back then, and it appealed to children as a fun and exciting toy. But how did they become so popular? Well, moon shoes were first introduced in the early 1990s by a company called Hart Enterprises. They were marketed as a way for kids to experience the sensation of walking on the moon, hence the name Moon Shoes. The advertising campaigns were really effective in capturing the imagination of kids at the time. They heavily promoted the idea that by wearing these shoes, you could jump higher and feel like an astronaut exploring the lunar surface. The marketing strategies for moon shoes were quite ingenious. They used bright colors and eye-catching designs to attract the attention of children. The shoes were also frequently featured in popular children's TV shows, and commercials often used catchy jingles and slogans to make them memorable. Moon shoes were a hit. Kids were captivated by the idea of defying gravity and bouncing around like they were on the moon. The shoes became a must-have toy for many, and they flew off the shelves in toy stores across the country. At the height of their popularity, moon shoes were even featured in the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards as a prize. However, despite their widespread appeal, moon shoes weren't all fun and games. Their hazardous nature soon became apparent, and we'll explore that in more detail as we discuss the design and mechanics of these mini trampolines for your feet. Now, let's focus on the design and mechanics of moon shoes and how they functioned as mini trampolines for users' feet. By understanding their design, we can better grasp how these seemingly innocent toys became a symbol of hazardous play. Moon shoes were essentially plastic platforms with adjustable straps that fastened over a child's regular shoes. Each platform contained a series of elastic bands that acted as the springs of the mini trampolines. These bands were designed to stretch and compress as the wearer jumped, providing an increased bounce and a sensation of weightlessness. While the concept was certainly innovative and exciting, the design of moon shoes had some significant flaws that contributed to their hazardous nature. For one, the elastic bands were prone to snapping or losing their elasticity, which could cause the shoes to malfunction and potentially result in injury. Additionally, the plastic platforms were quite rigid and didn't provide much in terms of shock absorption, so landing from a jump could be quite jarring. Another issue with moon shoes was that they were difficult to balance on, especially for younger children who might not have fully developed their motor skills and coordination. This lack of stability made it all too easy for kids to roll an ankle or lose their footing while using the shoes. As a result, the risk of injuries such as sprains, broken bones, and other physical harm was significantly increased. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at the various types of injuries sustained by children while using moon shoes and how these incidents ultimately shed light on the importance of toy safety and responsible product design. Let's take a moment to examine the various types of injuries that children sustained while using moon shoes. As we've discussed earlier, the design flaws and lack of stability in these mini trampolines for your feet made them quite hazardous for kids. One of the most common injuries associated with moon shoes was sprained ankles. Due to the unstable nature of the platform and the difficulty in maintaining balance, kids would often roll their ankles while jumping or simply walking in the shoes. This, in turn, led to painful sprains that could sideline them for weeks. But sprained ankles were just the tip of the iceberg when it came to injuries caused by moon shoes. Some children experience more severe injuries, such as broken bones. Falling from a jump or losing balance while wearing the shoes could result in hard impacts that caused fractures in the wrists, arms, or even legs. In addition to sprains and broken bones, other physical harm was also reported. Kids would sometimes trip and fall while wearing moon shoes, leading to cuts, bruises, and even head injuries. The lack of shock absorption in the shoes also meant that the impact from jumping and landing could cause discomfort or pain in the knees, hips, and back. It's clear that moon shoes were not the harmless, fun-filled toy they were marketed to be. These injuries highlighted the importance of toy safety and responsible product design. In the next section, we'll delve deeper into the role of consumer safety regulations and parental supervision in the context of moon shoes, and analyze any warnings or guidelines that were provided to users. Now, let's analyze the role of consumer safety regulations and parental supervision in the context of moon shoes, as well as any warnings or guidelines that were provided to users. This will help us understand how these factors played a part in the hazardous nature of these mini trampolines for your feet. Consumer safety regulations have been put in place to protect users, especially children, from dangerous products. In the case of moon shoes, these regulations may not have been as stringent as they are today, where the risks associated with the product might not have been fully understood at the time. As a result, moon shoes were able to enter the market with their hazardous design flaws. However, some safety warnings and guidelines were provided to users of moon shoes. For instance, the packaging of the product often included age recommendations, weight limits, and suggestions for proper usage. Unfortunately, these warnings might not have been sufficient, or they were simply overlooked by excited children and their parents. This is where parental supervision comes into play. While it's important for toy manufacturers to design safe products and provide clear warnings, parents also have a role in ensuring their children's safety when using toys like moon shoes. Proper supervision could have helped prevent some of the injuries we discussed earlier. For example, parents might have been able to ensure that their children were using the shoes correctly, that they were within the recommended weight limits, and that the shoes were in good condition before use. Furthermore, parents could have encouraged their children to use moon shoes in a safe environment, such as on a soft surface like grass, to minimize the risk of injury. In the next section, we'll discuss the lasting impact and legacy of moon shoes as a symbol of hazardous play, and how this has influenced our understanding of toy safety and the importance of responsible product design. Finally, let's discuss the lasting impact and legacy of moon shoes as a symbol of hazardous play, and how this has influenced our understanding of toy safety and the importance of responsible product design. The story of moon shoes serves as a cautionary tale about the potential dangers of seemingly innocent toys. The numerous injuries and accidents associated with these mini trampolines have made them a symbol of hazardous play. This has led to increased awareness of the need for stringent safety regulations and responsible design, when it comes to children's toys. Today, toy manufacturers are held to higher safety standards than ever before. This is due in part to the lessons learned from products like Moon Shoes. Regulatory agencies and industry organizations have implemented stricter testing procedures, and the design process now puts a greater emphasis on safety and risk reduction. The legacy of Moon Shoes also highlights the importance of parental supervision in ensuring a safe play environment for children. Parents now have greater access to information about the potential risks of certain toys, and they are more aware of their role in supervising and guiding their children's playtime activities. Ultimately, the Moon Shoes craze of the 1990s has had a lasting impact on the way we view toy safety and product design. While these mini trampolines may have provided a thrilling experience for many children, the potential risks and injuries they caused serve as a reminder of the need for continued vigilance in prioritizing the safety of our children when it comes to the toys they play.